Watch this.
Wake up to reality.
All right, welcome to another episode of Reality Tonic. I'm your host, Spencer, alongside with the world-famous co-host, Rob. Rob, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Very good, and I'm very excited because, folks, as we know, it's been a minute since we've been back. For those of you that are just joining us, and for all of our thousands and thousands of fans out there, we are a podcast about interviewing people from all walks of life with interesting stories, jobs, hobbies, lifestyles, and talents. And as you all know, we cover a broad range of people. And we have a very interesting guest here today. Her name is Crystal Gorski, and Crystal is an actress. She's in show business, folks. So we have had actors on the show. Rob, have we had an actress?
I don't think so. I mean, Davian is a wrestler.
She was a female professional wrestler, but that is different.
I know.
She is in the business.
It is real.
But my friend here, Crystal, is in show business. Crystal, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. Crystal, tell us what it is exactly that you do.
Well, I audition a lot. That's my job. I spend, 12 hours a day on my computer or my phone or recording myself and just trying to get into movies. And I love to act. I love to do stuff behind the camera as well. So network.
And how long have you been doing this?
Since September 2021.
Oh,
Nice.
So we're fresh in the game.
Yeah,
So
fairly new.
That's a big step.
Yeah.
Did that just happen sporadically, or did an event lead up to this, or what?
Yeah. So when I was younger, in my early 20s, I did a couple of movies that were, very small, no budget films, and it was a lot of fun. And then I had a family and a business, and just kind of put it to the side because we need to make money and buy a house and all the stuff that they tell us we need to do, right? And then in 2019, I got diagnosed with breast cancer, and I went through a lot of treatment. It was almost a year of treatment, and I didn't know if I was going to make it. And when you go through something like that, like, you think a lot, like, what haven't I done? What regrets you have, everything you're going to miss out on, you really do think when you're going through something like that. And when I pulled through and they said there was no more cancer, I was like, well, what do I really want to do with my life, with these days that I'm given, with these hours that I'm given? Because tomorrow is never a given, and this is what I want to do. So I decided I wasn't going to spend any more time, any more days in my life doing anything that wasn't my passion. So as soon as my body was strong enough after the chemo, I recovered. Took me about a year to get my body back. I couldn't go up and down stairs, stuff like that, without my knees breaking. It was horrible. So I did a lot of mindfulness coaching. I got a coach, went through a lot of theta healing, did a lot of meditation, things like that, to get to kind of trust my body again. And it's great for you. It's really good. So I do that. And then I just jump back in physical fitness and just kind of, I guess, rejuvenated myself and kind of being reborn in a way, I guess. It's kind of weird to say, but yeah. So I took my first acting class in September of 2021, and I had my first film in November. So just kind of took off from there. I learned the business, took a lot of classes, trained with a few different people, and I just love it. There's nothing better than being on set working. That's the number one thing. And I really think that what was really the big thing for me, and the reason why this is my passion, is when I was going through the treatment and I was in the worst chemo that you can have. I could hardly even lift my arm to feed myself. And I was just so sick, so I was watching a television show. It was actually Vikings. And I was submerging myself into this show. And when I did that, and when I was following the storyline and all of these amazing characters that these actors brought to life, it took me outside of what I was going through and just put me into their world. And that's something that I want to be able to do for other people.
I was getting better. Is this the same thing Grandma had?
Why do you have to bring that up? I watched my mom suffer so much.
If you've ever been to a convention and you see, like, just this weekend, I saw a fan walk out with a picture, a photo op that they got, and they were crying. That person, whoever they took that picture with, it was David Howard Thornton's picture. He did something with that character on that screen that touched that person, so that's what I want to do. I want to create just amazing projects. So not to get too deep or anything.
Wowzers.
That's
Wowzers.
awesome. Yeah.
That was, that sounds awful.
Yeah.
It sounds awful. And it's amazing, how far you've come and stuff. And, it is scary because, like, what was life like before the cancer diagnosis?
Yeah. So had a small IT company, pretty much. We bought a whole bunch of recycled laptops and we would refurbish them, and we custom built desktops and we sold them on eBay, Newegg, Amazon, locally, and did that since 2014. I started that business by buying a lot of broken iPods, and I took them apart and I would fix them and then resell them. So it started with iPods and moved on to laptops, and then we did like custom desktops and stuff like that. And I have so many different college credits, a lot in IT, some in marketing. And it's all boring. I hate IT. I can't stand it. You make a ton of money in IT, and I could make a lot of money. Instead, I'm super broke and I'm an actor. So, you gotta choose.
I have a loser friend who's in IT right now. And
Yeah, we do.
You're right. He's a loser.
He told me about his job. I'm like, that sounds so boring. No offense.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get, but that's the thing, there's some money in there, here and there, so, it's a good field. It just sounds, sounds loserish.
It's like, I forget what my password is,
Yeah.
Oh, what's my password?
Yeah, hey, can I get my
Yeah,
password
it's help
reset?
desk.
Yeah,
Help desk
exactly.
is even worse. Yeah, I
exactly.
did that too. But oh man, it's like, well, is it plugged in? Well, let me check.
Yeah.
It's like,
so you do this. All right. So, I mean, you're doing some serious hustling, right? Sounds like,
Yeah,
right? You're buying
I'm
and
trying.
selling. I mean, even
Yeah.
before though, right? You're kind of buying and selling stuff, and, you had your business. And
yeah,
so then we had that horrible thing happen, but
yeah,
the emotional roller coaster you must go through, right?
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah,
feel
it's a
like,
lot.
oh my gosh, I'm sick. How sick am I? And all of these things are dramatic too. Like, I have family members with cancer, and it's like, does it have to be? They can't find another way. They can't find another way to, like, the chemo part of it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because it's like,
Yeah.
you lose your hair. The whole thing sucks.
Yeah.
It's awful. And
Yeah.
you push through it. Everything seems to be working the way it's supposed to. And I think you took advantage of, like you just said, you're born again, kind of, in a way. So you're going after your dreams.
Yeah.
So I think that's
You're
really
never the
cool.
same. Like
Yeah.
people say, oh, things will get back to normal. But what really is normal? Like, you're never going to be the same person you were before something like that.
Yeah.
And you're right, mentally, like, it was really hard. I struggled a lot until I found my mindfulness coach. And that was, I found her last January. It's actually Maud Hurst. That I mentioned Vikings. She's an actress. So she quit acting and she went into mindfulness and yoga, and she couldn't be happier. But she understands the business, that I was trying to get into. And I do one-to-one sessions with her, and I try and do them twice a month. And then she's got her app where she's got all of the meditations, and she's got 3 or 4 a week that she does, where she does yoga, mindfulness. We do manifestations, healing. So it's just so beneficial. Like, I preach it because prior, I didn't believe in it, but I was in such like a horrible mental place, thinking that the cancer was going to come back and kill me, and not trusting my body, that I was just a mess, So I would definitely recommend it. It really helps you just find your center, be able to ground yourself, and just feel good, mentally and physically. So it just, because the mind and body are one, so definitely 100% recommend it to anybody who's in that place. But yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that is so
Jeez.
cool to overcome all that and to just go for your dream is like awesome.
So let's talk more about this. So we're in the game, right? We were a student, and then you decide, all right, I'm going to start going. Like, what was your first audition like? Tell me.
Oh gosh, what was my first audition? I should know this, shouldn't I?
Yes.
Okay, so I think my first audition was. Let me think here. So let's just talk about the first project I booked, which was Wet Work, and it hasn't come out yet. I remember the audition had me on the telephone. I was on the phone and I was telling someone, I know, like I was telling, like was a bad guy. And I was like, I know you killed so-and-so, and I'm the DEA or something like that. I think it was the DEA. And they were like, well, I'm coming for you or whatever. So here I am. I have my setup and, they tell you that you need the backdrop and all that stuff. So I had the backdrop. It didn't even look good. Had the backdrop, had like this table. I had my phone, had my one little ring light. And I recorded this really crappy audition, but I think I acted well in it. It just didn't look good, they want your tapes to look pretty decent. I don't think mine did, but that was a fun one because I recorded 2 takes and I sent it in and then he was like, that was really good, but can you try and do it this way? And I was like, okay. I had no idea what I was doing. Really, like, I think I had just had my first class, and I did not have vulnerability at that time. And that's a big thing that they teach in classes, that you have to be vulnerable. And a lot of people have a really hard time being vulnerable. And that's, I guess you just kind of shut things off. So after
screw that.
Just shut it off. Right. So during some of the classes I had, they were trying to break our walls down and stuff like that. So until my walls got broken down, I was kind of more of a monotone. I can play angry roles, kind of an actor. And now I can take a script that has a crying scene and I can get myself there like that. It's not difficult.
I did my job. I hired you to arrest these vigilantes and you're out here killing everybody.
So, I mean, it's a huge difference between then and now, but it's kind of scary to look back at my first few auditions, I guess.
Yeah. And so what was weird is, so I don't know if you know this, Crystal. So I'm kind of in the business. I'm going to tell you what. So I don't know if you're familiar with a young man named, well, he can because it's jealousy, Crystal. You know what I mean? How you're in the business. I'm in the business. There's a lot of haters out there.
Yeah, there sure is.
So I briefly trained boxing with a young man by the name of Dickie Eklund. Are you familiar with Dickie Eklund?
Oh my God.
I believe that was a head nod of yes. Are you familiar with Mickey Ward?
No.
I'm sorry, Irish Mickey Ward.
No.
Okay. Well, he is a very famous boxer.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, they are. All right. Riddle me this. Are you familiar with the box office smash, The Fighter?
Yes.
Are you lying?
No, I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. No, I hate boxing. Like, I don't hate it, but I'm just not into it. Like,
turns out, so do I, because I was attending a gym in my early 20s, and I see this man running backwards on a treadmill. And I discovered that is Dickie Eklund. There's plenty with that story. So you can talk to Jason on Old Dirty Boston. I'm sure he can cover that story. For sure.
Christian Bale plays him.
Yeah, Christian Bale plays him in The Fighter. So if you look it up, you get a general idea on what this guy was like, and basically, what he was like. And he offered to train me in boxing for $20 a session, and that lasted approximately 2 weeks, give or take. Right. I'm not a boxer. I was vomiting every day. But then all of a sudden he sends me he calls me and he says, Hey, Spencer, I got an opportunity for you. I want you to be in my movie. I said, Dickie, what movie? And he says, Christian Bale's playing me in a movie. Batman. Batman's playing me in a movie. I go to the VFW in Lowell, Massachusetts for an audition. And I did awful. But I figured they had me, I just said like my name and stuff. Then they had me go to Boston Casting. Okay. So now I'm really in the business. Rob has no idea. Crystal, you're familiar with all this stuff, right? So I go to Boston Casting. They give me like a little clipboard with my name and stuff on it, like a little thing. I take a picture. There's like 6 of us. We all just say like why we want to be in this movie, basically. I bombed it. So I didn't get in. Okay. So I wasn't in the movie, but I could have been. That was what I was leading to. But when I was in that line with all those people, we have people bragging about, hey, the silhouette of the guy sleeping in the Advil commercial, that was me. You know what I mean? And we're in that line. And I'm like, oh, cool. But like, this is a big deal, right? Like those are big opportunities.
It's a big role.
Yeah. Like, is that
they probably got paid for it pretty well.
Yeah. So I've heard commercials pay well. Have you heard that as well?
Yeah. Yeah, so I did a Cricket wireless commercial, and that's my highest paying job.
I would recommend Cricket to any small business owner who's looking for something reliable.
Smile.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now,
So I actually do editing for TV commercials.
Okay.
see, we're
advertising.
Yeah.
networking everywhere, Crystal. Are you
Yeah.
seeing what's happening? All the pieces are
That's
being
my
put
day
together.
job.
Yes.
Yes.
I will, of course, take a cut of whatever deal you guys make because I facilitated this whole thing. So we'll talk about that after. But so
That wasn't in the disclaimer.
I know. Screw this, dude.
You know what? We'll go into an executive session after the show. And we'll
Okay,
talk
okay.
about it.
Yeah, another legal.
Yeah, just some legal mumbo jumbo we got to fit through. So where I was going with that is there's so many people in this game. Are you
Yeah.
intimidated by this? Number one.
No.
And number two, what is your end game? What do you want to be?
Yeah. I mean, no, I'm not intimidated because there's only one me. So, and there's
There you
projects
go.
out there for me. It's just meeting the right people and getting in those projects. You're not going to be the right fit for everything. Look at casting. Look at your favorite shows. Look at your favorite movies. Look at the ones that were cast like crap and the ones that were cast the right way. It makes or breaks the show. So you're not going to be right for everything, but there are so many shows and films out there that people need me.
And a rope around her neck.
So it's just a matter of finding them and them finding me. So I got to keep putting myself out there, keep working, keep showing what I can do, keep building those relationships, and that will come. So no, not intimidated. What was the second question?
The second question was, what is the end game? Like, if you could snap your fingers and tomorrow in the business, what do you want to do?
So, I mean, I just want to make amazing projects and be able to pay my bills doing it. Just be able to do what I want to do and still be able to survive and take care of the house and the cats and the family and, all that stuff. So if I can do that, I'll be happy. I would love to travel, which I think with this job, travel kind of just comes, eventually you'll go places. Like I'm going to Georgia in June. I was in LA for the cricket commercial. I travel for the conventions, like the one I was just at this weekend. Like that's so fun.
Hey guys, so we're at the New Jersey Horror Fest and it is amazing. Look at all of these amazing people. There's so much cool stuff here, like not gonna lie.
Let me tell you, like watching the Terrifier crew cut their fucking Art the Clown Cake, part of my French. Let me say it without the F word.
No, do it.
You can swear.
We clip it. We clip
Watching
it.
them cut that cake and like just how happy and humble every single one of those people that worked on that film, like all those films, and you had some of the producers were there, you had the writer there, you had the talent there, like just the actors. And like all of them are just such freaking amazing people. And to watch them cut their cake and be so happy and so proud of what they created, that's an amazing feeling, and I talked to David Howard Thornton for just, a few minutes or whatever at his table. And I asked him, I'm like, how does it feel? Or he's like, it doesn't feel real, like it's really like so fresh. Like to be able to do stuff like that, I think is amazing. Again, just being able to touch people's lives in some way with the art that we put out there is definitely end game material as well. So
And I'm happy you mentioned the word art because Rob rolls his eyes when I tell him I'm an artist. Because in a way, we are artists, right? Are you understanding, Rob? This is what we create. Now imagine, Rob, riddle me this. If what we create, people like really enjoy, right?
Yeah.
Like, people are into it and they want us to keep doing more. See, that's my end game, Crystal. Now, with what you were talking about, and I'm trying to make this interview about you. I really am. But I'm going to make this about my gripe with Rob as well, because Crystal, like you, I am very motivated. Okay. And we have to travel. We have to not even go to a convention, but maybe for us to cover it because we want to cover this whole thing, the whole scene. And I'm saying, Rob or Bobby, depending on what mood I'm in, Bobby, we got to get out there. But Rob, I don't want to leave the house and blah, 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 blah. So
gotta leave the house.
You can vouch that you need to leave your house in order to effectively network. Yes or no? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree with that. So I think that the internet is great and it's great for networking, but when you actually are able to see somebody face to face and they can see you and you kind of get that vibe from them and you can read their body language better and just like I don't know. It's different when you're in person. It's much different. So, and there's like, I never would have met any of the people I met over the weekend if I wasn't there. I never would have met the people I met in New Jersey if I wasn't there. And those people are leading me into other things with other people, you know, so it's definitely very important to be there, be present, and, you know, have your aura in the room. So
let me ask you this. The Cricket Wireless thing, you said, you know, it's the most money you've made so far.
Yeah.
What I've been learning from interviewing other actors is you're part of SAG, right?
I'm SAG eligible. I haven't signed up with the union yet.
Rob, do you know what SAG is?
Yeah.
All right. So you haven't signed up yet. You're SAG eligible. So
Yes.
for the folks at home, why don't you tell them what SAG is?
Yeah, it's the union for actors. And so once you sign up with them, it's harder to do non-union projects, which is why I haven't done it. So now I can do both union and non-union work. And you have to pay, like it's not cheap to get into the union. And then you have to pay like a percentage or whatever of the money that you're making and stuff like that. So you really have to make the best decision for you, whether or not you want to be union or not. So
Is the pros of that though, like you don't have to really negotiate your rates, like part of it is already set, so you don't need to worry about getting gypped? Is that part of it?
Yeah. So SAG has set rates for certain types of projects. Like every type of project has its own set day rates and things like that. So if you were to sign up to do like a SAG television show, I think it's like 1,000. My cat is crazy. 1,000, like $80 a day or something like that. So they have to pay you that minimum.
Okay.
Or you negotiate higher or whatever, depending on the talent, you know, but they have to pay that. Now, non-union projects can pay you nothing. They can pay little. You're not protected under any of the SAG agreements.
Okay.
So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
So there's pros and cons.
When
of
you're
this one.
SAG though, you accept stuff that, you know, that's not, you know, like that you would get paid nothing for?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I heard that it is more difficult when you are SAG to do non-union projects. You have to be specific, and there's got to be like, you know, there's red tape.
I know from my experience, because my company, we also do they'll get the actors together. I just do video editing, but it is sometimes the budget's so low you can't get a SAG part. You have to get you know, non-SAG, or else you blow the budget. And I know that there's other things too, like they have to have a meal at a certain time when they're on set and stuff like that. Yeah, it's very like, if you don't follow these rules, like you could get in trouble. So a lot of people just avoid it when it's like, if you're on a low budget.
If it's a lower budget film,
you're not going to give all the money to the talent. No offense, right? When you got director, DP, all these people. So
absolutely. Yeah.
So it's
kind of in the benefit, you know?
So now let's roll into this. You mentioned convention a couple times. Was this a horror convention?
It sure was.
So are you in the horror movie industry?
I have been doing a lot of horror films. Yes.
What is that like?
It is awesome. Let me tell you, the first time I had prosthetics put on, like the special effects stuff from a death scene, I thought it was amazing. So
that's awesome. Like a fake slash cool. Or something, you know, cut.
So you haven't seen my stuff? You didn't watch my...
No. And I want to say to you, Crystal, how does it feel? You know why? Because me and Rob were talking. Not one of our guests has listened to anything of our stuff. You look me in the eyes right now and you tell me that you looked into our stuff.
I looked into your stuff.
Are you?
She's an actress.
Acting though.
She's acting right now.
Oh, see? Why you gotta ask?
There's a single tear going down her face.
You don't trust me?
Ooh, I don't
know
this.
what to do.
I don't like this. She's good at what she does.
I don't like this.
She's good at what she does.
Oh gosh.
Okay, but anyways, I want to talk about this.
Prosthetics or
this is scary stuff.
Maybe this.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you because now you get to watch the movie. But no, it's a lot of fun. My next, you know, people tend to like to kill me in things. I'll say that.
Don't you recognize me? It's Nurse Chapman.
I would like to kill people. So, and let me read. In a film, as an actress, I would like to be the killer. And you know, I would like to be at the table discussing these disgusting, torturous ways we're going to be killing my victims. You know, like that's what I want. Now, what do I look like to you? Do I look like the killer? Do I look like the housewife?
You could,
if you were like
Yes.
you could
possessed.
make a great housewife. I think you
Yeah.
could be a killer, but I think it'd be like, oh, she's pissed. Like, I think it would. I don't know. I don't know.
I never
Combine
get
the two.
serial killer, like this is the thing. I can be a serial killer, So like that's what I'm hoping for. So hopefully someone that watches this calls me like, Crystal, we have a great idea. We would love for you to come kill people on our set. And I would be like, yeah, let's do it.
So folks, she's itching. She's itching for a serial killer spot. So
yeah. I would love it.
So when you guys are talking about this, like when you're going over it at table read or whatever, when they give you a script, is it like, Crystal's neck gets snapped off, gets snapped on, whatever? Well, like, do they like, is it all written down? And
it's all written down. Yeah. It'll all be in the description text.
If you die at the table, after the table read, like it's past your death, do you just sit there and, be dead?
I mean, you cry first, right? Like you're dead.
Yeah.
So everybody cries at the table, of course. And then typically they just continue on as if you never existed. So
and then you just enjoy the rest of it.
Yeah. Then I get to see how everybody else dies,
Yeah, that's awesome.
See if they bring my ghost back at the end.
Yes.
So
or
what
a flashback.
Is it? Do you think is it easier to get into that kind of thing? Like, is it easier than other genres?
I don't think so. No. I don't think nothing about acting is easy. Mm-hmm. So you have to have a spine and a very thick spine on you to be an actor. You have to be able to hear no 1,000 times before you hear yes once. And if you can't do that, you can't be an actor. Just don't even try. Not to discourage anybody, but it's a lot of no's. You get a lot of no's before you get that yes. But when you get that yes, it's amazing. The way that you have to look at it is, getting an audition is a win. And it's a huge win because now not only is it time to, create a character from this piece of script that they give you, and they give you very limited information, but you're going to submit this to a casting director, right? And this casting director, so maybe it's even an associate casting director, might not be the biggest one in the industry. If they might not do shows that you're looking to get into, that doesn't matter because you want to book the room is what they call it at that point. You want to give them the best audition, follow your instructions, submit that to them. And I'll tell you what, they'll remember you. If you send in a good tape, they will remember you. So you might not be right for that role, but in a year from now, they could be like, do you remember that tape that Crystal sent in last year? Like they remember you. These are human beings, So
you hear those stories a lot. That Bryan Cranston guy from Breaking Bad or whatever, similar thing happened. Just a guy that worked with him like 15 years prior was like, hey, I created this thing and I've been thinking about you. So it really is important. Yeah. Relationships are very important.
No, it's so important, So I don't remember how we got onto that, but it's just very important. And
but horror, the industry.
Yeah.
Horror.
Let me think. So the first horror film I did, the first horror film I was cast in was Harlow's Haunt, feature film. And that one, we just got a distribution contract through Bayview Entertainment. Awesome. So we will be all over the world very soon with Harlow's Haunt. So that was amazing. And I was lucky enough to get to work alongside John Dugan from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Yeah. So John and I, we had all of our scenes together because, all of my scenes were really with John and then my son. But we were in the 1920s timeline, and then there's a present day timeline, and he plays Harlow Greer. And that was just amazing to be on set with him. So my first feature film was a horror film, was with a horror icon. Like,
I had to leave. I grabbed Ari and we grabbed a sack of things and we left. If we didn't look back.
It was amazing. I'm very blessed, very grateful. And that's kind of how I got into it. You get into one horror film and you start networking with all of those horror people, and then, you get cast in another horror film and you network with all those horror people, and they're a completely separate group of people. So now you have two groups of horror people. And then you make connections online, and, a wonderful guy named Doug, who you've been following and talking to on Instagram, says, hey, there's this really cool convention called the New Jersey Horror Con in Atlantic City. Why don't you come up and meet everybody? And you say, yeah, let me come up there and meet everybody. Yeah. That's a badass. And you get your ass on a plane and you fly up there and you meet everybody, and you just continue to build it. I'm also on so many different groups, like I'm just network as much as I can. So I meet a lot of people on social media and look for casting calls and just submit. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I had a question.
Yeah.
So like earlier you were saying your first audition sounded like it was probably COVID times or whatever, like over Zoom, or you recorded it, you didn't go in person. So like, I'm assuming by now you've done the in-person auditions.
Had one.
I was curious, how different is it to be there in the room,
It's okay. So that was actually, that was probably my 5th or 6th audition ever. So I was very nervous. I had no idea what to expect. And I always doubt my brain because I have chemo brain. And some people are like, that's not a real thing. Well, let me tell you, I used to remember everything, and it is hard to remember shit now. So I have to work 2-3 times as hard to memorize lines. So I have all my lines memorized. But now I was telling you guys before, this was a scene where I was tied to a chair, and there was a guy that I just shot the guy in front of me, and he was going to kill me. So I needed emotions, and I couldn't get the tears out because I still hadn't broken through to show my vulnerability. I was still closed off. So there's no way I should have gotten that role. And I didn't get that role. But I know why, so I knew what I had to work on. But it is a completely different vibe being in the room. You have cameras on you, you have people watching you, where at home you just have a camera. But I will say it is really nice being able to actually look at somebody and say your lines, because it's usually a couple inches to the left. You're like, I can't believe you did that. Where if I was in person with you, it's like, I would be like, I can't believe you did that. It's just different when I'm staring at you and I'm looking in your eyes and I'm telling you, where it is where you're just talking to somebody on Zoom, so it's different.
I figured it'd be crazy different, right? And just, you're there and then you probably pass somebody else who's coming in to try. And it's just
it's vicious.
So much shit going on,
This is where it could get intimidating for people that don't have the confidence, or for people that think that other people are their competition, because you're going to a room of people that look like you, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, well, she's skinnier. She's got this, maybe her smile is better or whatever. People look at that. And that, I think, is the main reason why a lot of people are happy that there's no longer in-person auditions, because you don't ever see who they're picking. For me, it would be like, okay, I'm the only me in this room, so that's what you really have to do when you're an actor, is know that there's only one you. But I think that's a huge thing for sure. And an interesting story. So I've always wanted to be part of the Walking Dead family. That was a really big inspiration, just getting, everyone's like, everybody wants to be part of the Walking Dead family.
So do I.
I just met Paul, no, never mind. We won't get into that. So yeah, like that's always been a thing for me. And I'm on Actors Access, and I'm self-submitting myself because I didn't have an agent yet. And I see a post for Fear the Walking Dead, and they're looking for someone with a hearing impediment or that can fake a hearing impediment. And I was like, okay, I can do that. Submit, right? So I submitted, and I never heard anything back. I didn't get the audition or anything like that, but I was so excited, right? So I wrote down that episode, and when it came out, I watched, and they went with an African-American man for the part. So their casting was for a mid-30s female when I saw the casting call. So you have to think, like, they don't know what they want. They just know that they're looking for somebody, right? So never think that because you don't fit the description that you're not going to be the one. I guess that's.
Oh, so you can just go. So even if they say they want a 5'9" redhead or whatever, I can just go in there.
Oh, yeah. See, I would have thought maybe it's like they tried it and then they were like, you know what, that doesn't feel right. Maybe it should be an older woman. And then that doesn't feel right. Maybe it should be this, They
could have put out 3 different casting calls. They could have put them out for men, for women, and for a child. You just don't know, So when you don't get that call back or you don't get that audition, you can't get frustrated, because they could be looking, they don't know what they're looking for, until they see it. So,
Crystal, are there any dickheads in the industry that you've experienced thus far?
Everybody in the industry is amazing.
That's great. Everybody, I know that's a great answer. Your experience so far, more positives than negatives?
Yeah, more positives than negatives, but you're going to have you're going to have your people that, like to cross the line, your people that like to screw people over. You learn who not to work with in this industry pretty fast. So,
yeah, I was going to say, you've seen this so far, like a couple of years in.
Oh yeah, no, I saw it my first 2 months in, and then definitely last year was a very big eye opener for many reasons. So yeah, this is the thing. Indie filmmakers, we will support each other. We will support each other through the thick, through the thin. We will share projects. This is what we need to do. Like, it's just part of it. If you're in a project and you're an actor on the project, know when they say cut, the project's not over. Now it goes into post-production. Now the production team is working on editing it, getting it ready, marketing, things like that. So be prepared to share, and a lot of people don't share. That's the problem. So just support each other. And some people think that they are too good to do that, or they are too good for other people. And those are the kind of people I keep out of my bubble. Those people stay away from me. So we will go farther together, period, every time. It is what it is. And again, it's those people that think that you are their competition that are going to be the ones that are going to manipulate you or try and treat you a certain way because they're afraid. So you learn. Yeah.
Well, I know we touched base a little bit about relationships and stuff, and I discovered you through the Old Dirty Boston podcast.
Yeah.
Because me and Jason have talked a couple times, and I followed his stuff, and that's how I got linked to you. And so, that's why I kind of found you interesting too, because that's an interesting podcast to go on. I feel like with whatever he's doing over there, like some of the stuff I've heard you on. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, like you're dealing with some kooky guys every once in a while, but you roll the punches. Yeah, you're in there, Let
me tell you. So this is how I found Jason and the Old Dirty podcast over there. So I follow Johnny Hickey, who
I know him, oxymorons
and habitual. Yep. So I've been following Johnny, and if I go back to my Instagram, probably 385 weeks ago, I posted habitual on I reposted his stuff. I was reposting a lot of it, and I want to work with him. So I follow him and I go into his lives, and he's done a couple of lives where it's just him. And, he said, oh, thanks for the support. So he's seen who I am. I've sent him my portfolio on Instagram, try to poke him a little bit. But I saw he went live, and I'm like, popping on a Johnny's thing, time to network, And he was live with Jason, and I was like, oh, cool. I just started bullshitting. And then Jason dragged me into the call when Johnny left the call. And I was like, oh, hi, guys. Like, I'm Crystal. They're like, who are you? So we just started talking. And so now every time that I hop on to Jason's podcast, I'm like, well, I wonder, if Johnny's going to hop on. But anytime Johnny hops on, I'm not on. So Johnny will lose reception, and then Jason will pull me in, or I'll be in, and he'll boot me and someone else for Johnny. So I still have not gotten to talk to Johnny on this podcast. But he does see me there, and I'm like, I know Johnny's got some stuff in the works, so I'm hoping to work with Johnny one day. That's kind of like my hopes there. But I have met a lot of really cool comedians there. Like Big D is so funny. Like what a hysterical guy. So he's got a great future ahead of him if he keeps up what he's doing.
Yeah, he seems like I haven't checked out his stuff, but I'm just going off of just listening to the podcast, and I assume he's a very funny dude.
Yeah,
even when he has an attitude
really
and
nice
stuff.
Too.
Who?
Pete Sacco, the bulldog. Yeah.
Yes.
So and he does the Namaste yoga stuff and whatnot. Like I love Namaste Sober. So he does the beach yoga and the yoga to stay sober. And I'm such a big supporter of that. We already talked about the mindfulness and stuff. So
shout out to those guys. Shout out to Old Dirty Boston podcast.
Yeah, shout out guys.
Over there. I like those dudes.
Have you
go ahead, Rob.
Oh, have you ever been, and sorry, I don't know, I should know, but have you ever been in a comedy? And what is that like kind of, if you have you, okay. Is that something you're interested in?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm really good with improv, like super good with improv. You could give I would love to do some comedy. Mm-hmm. So right now, really, all of my upcoming projects are all horror. Everything.
I think that's awesome. Can we talk about?
I think that's sweet too. But I mean, I'm sure for you want to diversify, right? Like a drama.
I don't want you to. I don't want you to.
Sure,
I think it's
as an actor, you probably want to try on every.
I mean, even when I'm writing 2 horrors right now too. So everything just seems to be horror right now. So we'll see. I don't know.
Jeez.
So
Yes.
on the horror genre, do you have a favorite horror movie?
It's funny. I was talking about this earlier, and some people say it's not horror, but I say Alien. It was my first ever horror movie. Yeah.
I would say that is terrifying, and that qualifies as horror.
That's scary.
Yeah, in space, no one can hear you scream. Like, that sounds horrifying, doesn't it? Like,
yeah, those are always so unsettling. Just the way they were filmed and the way, I don't know, the whole thing.
Yeah.
So
It's
what's
creepy.
the craziest thing you've had to do? Like, you get shot, hung, stabbed. What do you got?
I can't say too much because a lot of the stuff that I've done isn't out yet. But I'll say in Halloween Death Walks Among Us, I had, the eye and everything. So like my whole eye popped out and I was thrown across the floor into a door. So on set, like they kept pushing me into the door so we could get the shot. And then I laid still in the same spot for a long time. And I ended up with, it was on a tile floor, and I ended up with a bruise on my arm, the shape of the tile, from laying on the tile for so long.
Wow.
But you know what? The shot came out amazing. Watch the film. It's like 26 minutes long. Halloween Death Walks Among Us on YouTube.
We will check that out. Absolutely. Yeah. Now, these horror conventions, these sound awesome. Number one, I want to go for the podcast to cover it because I find that very interesting. But just for my own thing, like I wish, the reason why I like this podcast is for me, I have an excuse to go out and do those things now, because I can't say to my wife, hey, I'm going to a horror convention in Oregon. You know what I mean? And like, just I'll be back. So, but yeah, like, what is it awesome? Are people walking around looking dead and stuff, or what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, you have cosplayers and stuff like that, and then you have a lot of actors there and stuff that are just, kind of doing their thing. Everybody's there to meet them, and it's just a really cool vibe, like the one that we went to this past weekend on Friday, there was a VIP party. So if you had passes to the party, like everybody was there. You had everybody that came from the Terrifier cast was there. They were all, dancing and stuff and just kind of hanging out. They cut their cake, which was super cool. Music, just a little bit of a party, which was nice. And then at the one I did, New Jersey Horror Con in Atlantic City, Felissa Rose was there, and she does karaoke on Saturdays. And that was a freaking blast.
Oh, that's cool.
So much fun. Yeah, karaoke with Felissa Rose. Like, I absolutely adore her. I have a vision board that I have with different actors and different things that I want to do, like, and people I want to work with and stuff like that. And she's on there. So I'm hoping sometime this year or next year, her and I get to do a project together, especially since I'm in a lot of horror, and she's the queen of horror. So that would be a lot of fun. But yeah, like a totally cool vibe. So in New Jersey, I met a really cool band named American Grimm. And I hung out with them, and that was Ryan, Mike, and Brendan. And then Ryan's girlfriend, Maddie, and she's a rock star. But they are literally the coolest dudes ever. So like the people that you meet there, when you say like the horror community is like tight knit, they're like a family. So like, and it's very humbling to be, part of that family now. At least I'm starting to become part of that family. So yeah.
What's the fans look like? What do you think? What's the clientele like?
Crazy, awesome. Yeah, amazing. Like,
would you be surprised
fans, right?
would you be surprised that some people, I don't know, I don't think you have a look if you like horror, but you know what I mean? Like, I see if a guy,
my mom loves horror.
Yeah. Rob,
my mom loves horror movies and like Disturbed. She loves that like 2000s metal. You'd never know.
Yeah. Yeah. So you see those type of fans walking in, huh?
Absolutely. So there are literally families with kids and stuff that go, and like the kids are dressed up. So I have like the cutest picture on my phone. Hold on, we're going to show it now because we just have to, because we're talking about it.
Sure.
There were kids that were dressed up in cosplay, and they were so cute that I had to get a picture. I'm like, oh my gosh, here, look at this. This is amazing. Let me see if I can make it big. Crystal knows technology.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, here we go. So here they are, dressed up like the kids from Terrifier.
Jeez, that's scary.
Oh, that is creepy.
That's scary. That's awesome.
Like, I mean, and their parents are there just so proud. And I loved it. Like, it's just amazing that, you can go as a family, you can go by yourself, and like everybody's going to talk to everybody, and everybody's going to have a nice time.
Can we talk about the Terrifier for a second? Rob, are you aware of the Terrifier?
I remember seeing you sent me the trailer.
There was a lot of
for
hype, and I don't watch it's horror. It scares me, right? I don't like to get riled up. I like to go to haunted houses, but if I catch a horror movie, all right, fine. But the Terrifier, that guy seems scary. But Crystal, correct me if I'm wrong. All of this was on a very low budget, at least the first one, right? And then the fan base helped.
Both are low budget. Yeah, and so the first one was lower. But the second one, Terrifier 2, and I'm not involved in the movie whatsoever. I was invited up there by a friend of mine to help run the Terrifier shop table. So I got to hang out with everybody from Terrifier that was there. And like I said, they were all such amazing people. So I was very honored to be able to go there and help them. But yeah, I mean, I think the budget was like $200,000, something like that. And they started off, I think, in just one theater, and then it just blew up and multiple theaters everywhere. And I think if you look at like the IMDb, they grossed like 20 million.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is just
That's
insane.
awesome.
Yeah. I mean, we were just sitting back here in Florida and, just in the Southeast in general, or just as independent, filmmakers in general, just watching it happen. And it was just freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Like how cool, because it could literally, like, if you put in the time, if you put in the effort, you put in the passion into your project, it doesn't matter how much money you have.
Mm-hmm.
And Damien talked about, and Damien's the writer. He's also the special effects person. And then I believe Phil Falcone helped with special effects as well. But Damien did the special effects himself. Like that, almost nothing in there is CGI. They're very practical. Like he created all the special effects. Just go and watch like the bedroom scene from Terrifier 2. Okay.
Wow.
And watch what he did. And this is why the movie is so amazing, because literally he put everything that he had into it. The whole cast, the whole crew did. And just watch some of the interviews and some of the panels and the way that they talk about how things were done. It's incredible, so, and it really shows that if you put everything you've got into a project, it will pay off, and every single person that was involved in that project put everything they had into it. And that's why it turned out the way it did.
So what's it like having like fans? Have you
that's
had
what
the experience?
That's what I was gonna say. I was like been at the grocery store and someone's like, "Hey, I know you from you got thrown across a room and your eyeball came out."
With the eyeball.
I've had one experience so far outside of the house when I went to Chili's, and
that must be crazy.
First of all, I love Chili's.
Yeah,
I grew up on Chili's. Yes,
it was super cool. I have to say, like, it was really cool. And then at the New Jersey Con, I brought mini Harlow's Haunt posters with, and John Dugan was there, and I went to his table, and him and I signed some together. And then Doug was like, "I want you to sign my DVD." So it was my first ever signature at a convention.
Wow. That's
and then
awesome.
Dominic, who was one of the security guys on Sunday, he's like, "How do I get one of these posters signed?" And he wanted me to sign the poster for him. So that was my second ever autograph at a convention. And then I signed a couple this week too on some Harlow's Haunt posters. So I was like, it was really cool. And then we were at MegaCon a couple weekends ago here in Orlando. And after our screener, we signed stuff and whatnot. We had big posters and little mini posters and stuff like that. So
wow.
it's insane. Like it really means so much, and I'm trying not to get vulnerable right now.
Well, no, tell me about the Chili's thing. Like, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
How does it happen? How does it go down?
Yeah, like you're just having your queso.
Yeah, give me the whole setup.
No, it's more boring than that actually. So I know a guy named Terrence that works there. He's a server bartender there, and he knows that I'm in the field, and I've been trying to get him to do commercials because he just has that smile. And I walked in with my daughter, and he was like, "Hey," he's like, "Come here." He's like, "My friend," he was like, he told me that he saw you on TV the other day. He was like, "I was showing him your Instagram." I'm like, "Why were you showing him my Instagram?" And he was like, "I just saw that girl in a movie." He's like, I just had it over because Harlow's Haunt was released for a very limited amount of time, and somebody torrented it. And he had the torrent of the film, and he was like, "I just saw her in a movie," and I was like, "What?" So he told his friend, and he was like, "Oh my God!" I'm like,
"Wow, that's crazy."
So like, I'm like, okay, I couldn't even believe it. So yeah, very, very crazy story. But
yeah.
So now you touched on it a little bit. Okay, I need to know because your buddy there has a nice smile. You want him to get into the industry.
Yeah.
There we go.
I've mentioned a handful of times already, I'm in the industry, but it's tough. You know, me and Rob were talking before the podcast. I have very, I don't know what the word is, but my features, just check it out, Crystal.
Oh my God.
I have a very muscular forehead. There's a certain bone. It might be a bone structure.
It's very Cro-Magnon-esque.
Look, I'm backing up. Can you see it now?
Spin to the side.
Ultimate Warrior.
Let's get a profile of it.
So, and it also looks like I don't have any eyebrows, but I do have eyebrows. But
I see your eyebrows just fine.
Can you see what's going on here, though? You can see, can you see the whole shape?
I see it.
Okay, so that's obviously holding me back.
It's called your forehead.
But if I get some Botox, hear me out. Just watch.
You don't need Botox.
I just go like this.
What are you doing?
And if I just shave my head down a little bit.
He's talking about shaving his brow.
So if I do that too, I'm 5 years older or younger as well. So I mean, it's just.
Yeah, I feel like
there's a part for you, Spencer. There's a part for you.
Let me show you somebody.
Sloth from the Goonies is the part for me.
Yes.
I'm going to show you somebody amazing.
Rob, you show it. Wait, we'll talk.
Oh, you want me to get the?
Yep. Because Crystal, we're going to play a little game.
So this guy, you might have seen him. He was on a little show called Cobra Kai this past season.
Yes.
I don't know if you watch it. But this is somebody that works in the Southeast here. His name is Angel Rosario. And he has a very unique look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he is very, very marketable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unique features are marketable.
Yes.
So don't ever think that this is going to be anything different. My teeth aren't perfect. Whatever. It doesn't matter. So
you're beautiful, Spencer.
Crystal, check this out.
But don't you think he could be in a horror movie? Like,
oh yeah,
just do like a very dark, sinister kind. Okay, he doesn't know how to take direction.
Can you die well?
No, I die ugly. Well, I don't know. My sleep apnea kicks in and I start making all weird noises.
So if I had you strapped to that chair and I was slowly peeling the skin off your arm, could you scream well?
Oh.
Yeah, probably.
I think I'd be a better screamer.
I'd have a hoarse voice. I would be more of a killer.
He wants to. Everybody wants to be.
I could kill you in my film, but that's about all I could do for you. So.
But in don't you think in the horror rankings, like you need to be slaughtered a number of times before you're the killer? That's
fair. That's fair. You should do that with your movie,
paying your dues in the horror. You need. How many times has she died? Only like 4 times. All right. Well.
Not yet. She's getting there.
8, 9. Maybe we'll talk about.
Oh yeah. You need at least one beheading.
Yes, classic.
What are you going to do?
So, Crystal, Rob has a couple pictures, and I'm thinking at the very least, I could be stunt doubles for these guys.
No, this is right. She probably saw it when she signed on. I was looking at.
So you're checking it all out.
I mean,
this is for the folks at home.
This is
it was mean. It was mean of me. Some of these references.
No, it's okay. This is what Rob thinks I look like.
I don't know who else. Okay, there's 3 that I can think of.
Go ahead.
I'm getting the 3 that it's well known. People think that he looks like these people. It's not anything, everybody knows this. Okay.
Do I look like that, Crystal?
No.
Oh, come on.
Thank you.
No.
That's Vanderlei Silva from the
Your
USA.
eyes are much further apart. Your nose is much smaller, and you have a lot less wrinkles on your head.
You hearing that, buddy? You hearing that?
Take your headset off.
Yeah, let's see that. Let's see those ears. Oh, what a monster.
Completely different shaped ears. Yours are more almost like Vulcan ears compared to his.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See? Okay, all right.
Who's the next one?
Could I be that guy?
Sid Haig.
You could be that guy. You could be him because you could paint your face with the makeup. Your nose is not the same.
You hear that, Rob?
The eye separation is about the same.
Well, you see my lazy eye floating? You see how I got a floater, kind of? You can't figure out where it's going?
Don't look at this. Don't stand in a mirror with him.
Just go get some Botox then, if you really want it.
That's what this is all about. Will you approve me getting Botox?
One last guy you obviously look like.
Botox.
Do you think, I've heard this numerous times, that I am very similar to Terry Crews?
Yeah, I could see some similarities in the face shape for sure.
Right?
Nose is much different, but yeah, eyes. Yeah, eye shape.
It's the bulbous brow.
Yeah, and this right here. Yeah, I could see
Crystal,
it.
I know it's hard to see, but very similar bodies too. Very similar features.
Here we go.
You know, so
somebody told me I look like Mr. Beast. And I was like,
you do kind of look like fucking Jimmy. Yeah.
Is that his real name, Jimmy?
Yeah, Jimmy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was at a Dunkin'
Jimmy
Donuts,
Donaldson.
a drive-through, and I was getting my coffee, and the guy's like, "Do you make YouTube videos?" And I'm like, "No." And he's like, "You look like Mr. Beast." And I'm like in my Subaru and like
smoking.
You would be in a Subaru though, because you'd be giving it away or destroying it in the next parking lot, right? Like
and I tipped him like double what I normally would, which is just $2.
Just to prove a point.
Yeah, to be like, I was like, I'm sure I said Mr. Beast would have tipped you a lot more than, he would have just given you like 10 grand.
He's waiting for you to like throw a bag of cash in or something.
Yeah.
Hey, the hustle is real. Whatever we can do.
He was looking for editors. So I was like, because I'm an editor. So I was like,
hey, Rob, are you an editor? I've heard it 9 times in this interview.
Wow.
It's not about you. It's about
Crystal. He's jealous.
Yeah, it's about me and Crystal.
He's jealous because we're actually in the biz.
I want to be in the business. Yes, Rob edits big time commercials.
He wants to be a cop on TV. Is what I've always thought.
Oh yeah.
So wait,
you could be a cop.
I can be in a horror movie that you're writing. You think I have the talent?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's got the zing.
I need a cop too. So
let's do it,
dude.
Count me
and
in.
Then
I do SAG rates.
We'll film for the podcast. I'll go to
where are you from?
Wherever.
You guys.
Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Okay. You're both in Massachusetts.
But I have a brother that lives in Fort Lauderdale, so I can meet you in the area.
Yeah, that sounds good. We will be filming down here in Florida. So
you hear that, Rob?
I'm telling you right now, he would be an awesome cop. I know that much.
Thank you.
Actor, not a real one, but like he loves all the TV,
Of course. I do all the mannerisms, everything. I chew gum with my mouth open. You know, I'm aggressive.
Okay.
Tough the whole guy, thing. All that.
What's up, Chief?
Good,
How's it going?
Chief?
Look that way.
Shut up. A Boston cop, And I could obviously I could be a cop as well. I mean, I'm very
okay. Say water.
Water. It all depends on how you want to say it. Water.
I thought you almost had like a Midwest thing to your voice.
Me?
I don't know why.
Maybe it's because I'm from Chicago.
Oh, okay. Are you really?
Yeah.
See?
Until 2021, I moved to Florida.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what Floridians even sound like to begin with.
Floridians.
Yeah, that sounds like whatever his name is. They're sanctimonious.
So wait. I think it's safe to say we've covered it all. Have we or have we not? I mean, did we go over everything?
I had a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So once you get into acting and you're starting to really like it and you're enjoying the craft, do you find yourself like, I'm not a good liar, right? When I try to lie, it doesn't work. I get called out instantly. Like, do you think you're a better liar now that you're a better actor?
Only bad actors are good liars.
Okay.
So
it's against
acting is
code.
simple. So you will do best in roles that you're actually just being you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
You don't think if you got like pulled over by a cop and you got a speeding ticket, you wouldn't like utilize?
Oh, I could like instantly cry.
Yeah.
I mean, you could get away with doing stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's my problem. I'm talking about. They're like, oh, I don't know.
I'd use all my powers for evil.
Yeah.
It's a power.
Yeah.
But
I think that was, I don't know any other questions I had. I'm trying to think.
Crystal.
Yes.
Again, I know we've covered it a little bit, but tell us what we should be looking for now for everybody that wants to check you out, and tell us what's coming in the future, where we can find you, everything you got.
Yeah. So Harlow's Hunt will be coming out soon. Probably we're not exactly sure where. I don't know if it's going to be in theaters or just on streaming platforms or what. So keep an eye out for that. I'm going to be in Halloween Death Walks Among Us 2, which we're filming shortly. There is a film called The Woodman that we're going to be filming in June. There's a Kickstarter going right now. So please, if you can, share and donate or whatever. So that would be great. But that's going to be a found footage feature film that we're doing. Really great cast and crew involved in that one. And I just got a pretty large role in a Steve Merlo film called Unseen. Are you familiar with Steve Merlo? He did the Sawyer Massacre. Oh yeah, you're not horror people.
No, but that's a familiar name.
Yeah. So he made an excellent film. Really good cast and crew. And I've been following him, and I auditioned. He had me send my materials in, and he let me know when he was casting. I auditioned for him, and he gave me the role of Jessica in Unseen. And I am just so excited. Don't know exactly when it's filming yet, but it'll be in Canada, so I get to use my passport. I'm super excited to work with Steve and the entire cast and crew that he's got. It's going to be an amazing film. The script is really, really good. And then I was recently cast in a feature film called Doomsday, and that's an Aaron Hawkins film. And I finally get to play like the badass female, like the
that was
Ripley
posted on
of the film.
Instagram recently, right?
Yeah, recently. Yep. So that's like one of the roles I've wanted for a long time. I'm gonna be, it's definitely kind of Walking Dead-esque role for me. So I'm super excited about that. But not a lot of news on that yet, and I can't say too much about anything, but yeah, a lot of cool stuff in the works for sure.
The ball is rolling.
Cool.
The ball is rolling.
The ball is rolling.
Well, you're traveling the world. You're meeting all types of people from all walks of life. You've had the privilege of meeting us. We've had the privilege of meeting you.
This is amazing. Yes.
And I want to thank you very much. And folks, please be sure to check out Crystal Gorski, crystalgorski.com.
Yep. Crystalgorski.com.
Instagram. What we got?
Yep. Crystal Gorski on Instagram.
It's as simple as that, folks. Crystal
Nice.
Gorski. Check her out. Give her a follow. Look at all of her stuff. And I think we're out of here.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Wake up to reality,